Okay, hello friends. Again, we are back in the pharmacology discussion. Last video, yesterday, we have ended, actually we have to start the clinical trials. And we yesterday said that before that drug has to come into that market, you have to test it. Before you have to test it in the, you have to do those studies in the animals so that you can check the safety and efficacy and potency, whatever you want to check. Now, if that drug you are, it is complying with everything, it is safe, it is efficacious, then you will file an application with the investigational new drug. IND will file in FDA. IND will file in FDA. Okay. And then what you will do, they will tell you if they found that the things which you have checked are complying with their, finally they give you the permission, then yeah, this drug will be now taken to clinical trials in humans. So this concept is called clinical trials. Now we have 4 phases in clinical trials. Clinical trials, we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Okay. And 0 is the microdosing study. 0 is the microdosing study. What we are doing in phase 1, let us study phase 1. In phase 1, we are choosing, because you have come into the arena of clinical trials. That means the subject is a human being. Which type of human being it is, now I would like to say like that. Okay, in that context, you will take see the words normal, healthy volunteers, like you people. Okay, normal, healthy volunteers, human. They are human. Okay, don't think any animal will come in the clinical trial. Sir, what is the age group? Elderly, children, not allowed. Means you can't, we don't take them in the clinical trial phase 1. Okay. Now tell me, when can you detect an efficacy of a drug? When do you know the efficacy of a drug? That means once you have a disease, then you will be testing that, isn't it? Guys, isn't it? Efficacy you can only get, get to know when you have any dysfunction, when you have a patient. But this is a healthy volunteer, so there will not be any efficacy study. You cannot understand the efficacy in this phase. You cannot understand or determine the efficacy in this phase 1. Then what do we determine, sir? We determine the toxicity. We determine the pharmacokinetic studies. Okay. Now some question they will be asking you, which of the following is the first in human study? Phase 1 is the first in human study. You have to remember, it is the first in human study. Okay. I hope you understand. Now you will definitely have a question, sir. Why we are not taking the diseased people? We are taking, basically, if you take a normal person, this is a normal person and this is a patient. No, normal person, if that drug is having an adverse effect, since you are a normal person, you will be able to tolerate that adverse effect. But same will not be applicable in case of patient. Are we able to understand? So healthy patient can tolerate the adverse effect. So can I say phase 1 trial tells me about human safety? Phase 1 trial tells me about human safety. Can I say phase 1 trials tell me about human pharmacology? isn't it? Can I say it's helping me, giving me the knowledge of MTD, maximum tolerable dose? Exactly. Very nice. So this is the purpose of phase one. No, you take some people. I think it's 20 to 100 people you are taking. Okay, 20 to 100. Somewhere in some places it's written we take some no 50 people only. Some they will be writing 200 in phase two. Okay, it will depend. So this is the concept behind phase one. Going to the phase two. Going to the phase two. Phase two is I take now I start taking patients, but those are not that much patients. No 100 and 150 patients. Okay, I take small amount of patients or small number of patients in phase two. Here now, can we determine the efficacy? Can we determine the efficacy now, guys? Guys, sleeping, or talking with the WeChat, WhatsApp, busy with their loved ones. Small number of patients. Can I determine the efficacy? Yes, sir. Salute. Yes, sir. Efficacy. Can I also know the safety? Safety is already there. Safety is already there. So can I say phase two? Phase two is a therapeutic efficacy study. Therapeutic efficacy study. Can I say phase two? Can I say phase two is a first inpatient study? Guys, it's not so difficult, I think. If you listen my words carefully, it's not difficult. So phase one is done, phase two is done, going to phase three. Phase three is I take large amount of patients. I take up to 5,000 patients, I think. For thousands of patients I am taking, okay? And I choose many areas. See, in phase two, I was choosing only one place and getting those patients. So it was a homogeneous population. It was a homogeneous population. But if I talk about phase three, I go to every center. I take people from different, people who have different genetic variations, who have different genetic makeups, isn't it? So what I do is in phase three, I take a heterogeneous population. I take a heterogeneous population, isn't it? From several places. Because at one community point, I know about the genetics. So I'm now taking multiple. There can be a probability that I'm getting a different genetic populations. Okay. Mostly you call it RCT, randomized control. Okay. So what we check in three. Now in the phase three, you will do the generalization. What generalization, sir? You will say what effect this drug has in one genetic group, what drug it has in another genetic group. See, in the second phase, what was the difference between these two? The difference was in phase two, you took a single population and you were actually trying to find the therapeutic efficacy. You were trying to find, you had to establish, I can use the word, you had to establish the therapeutic efficacy. But phase three, you already know, now you are confirming. You are confirming now that it has that therapeutic efficacy. So confirmation of that therapeutic efficacy is done by the phase three therapeutic confirmatory. Therapeutic confirmatory. So we say phase two is therapeutic exploratory. So what we say, phase two is therapeutic exploratory. We are searching, we are exploring. Vasco da Gama, we are exploring. But phase three, we are confirming. We are confirming therapeutic confirmatory, therapeutic efficacy confirmation. Are we able to understand? Is it clear, guys? Now, if you found in the phase three that it is safe, it is effective, what you will do, you have to file another application now with the FDA. You have to file another application, that is NDA. You have to file NDA now. What were you filing in the beginning? IND. You were filing IND when you had to start the trial, investigational national new drug. Now you are filing NDA. You are filing NDA after you have done the phase 3. You are filing NDA. NDA is new drug application. New drug application. New drug application. So you are filing a new drug application so that your drug can go into the marketing. So now you have entered the phase 4. Phase 4 is called, please write with the red pen, post marketing surveillance. It's a post marketing surveillance of this drug. What we do in this post marketing surveillance, that we check the any sort of a rare side effect, not rare adverse effect. We check for any rare adverse effect, or if a person is taking this drug for a long period of time, is there any adverse effect happening with that use of this drug? Okay, is it clear? Means you can treat the people, you start giving the medicine to the people, you treat, you as a physician, even an average physician, you can use this. Okay, so all the long-term adverse effects, all the rare adverse effect, or even pregnancy people, you can take the special cases, pregnancy children, you can be checking them with this phase 4. Now there's another, sir, we have listened some phase 0. What is this phase 0? Some person was asking me a long time back, sir, phase 0 is something. 1 is known by everyone, 2 is known by everyone, 3 is known by everyone. What is this 0? See, 0 is basically, let me write phase 0. Phase 0 is known as microdosing studies. Known as microdosing studies. What we do is we take healthy volunteers, and in that healthy volunteers, not so many, taking some little number of those healthy volunteers, and what we do is we give a 1/100th, very low dose, 1/100th of human dose. We give 1/100th of human dose, and if you want to calculate, 100 microgram is the maximum you can give. 100 microgram. Okay, now you inject this 1/100th of a dose. Now tell me one thing. You have learned from the efficacy and from the safety of that drug that if you want to achieve a therapeutic level, you have to give some dosage so that you can get the therapy, isn't it? See, I am having, amoxicillin 250, I am having amoxicillin 500, but why in the hospital I give amoxicillin 625? Because I know the the situation, the patient's health status at that time, which drug I have to give. So it means I have to give that therapeutic dose so that I can have that therapeutic effect. But in microdosing studies, we are using a very small amount, a microdose of this drug, and we won't be attaining that we will be at the sub-therapeutic level. I mean, we will be at the sub-therapeutic level. We won't be achieving that level. We have to touch that mark. So sub-therapeutic levels are achieved there. Therefore, you can't, Dr. Saab, you can't determine the efficacy. You can't determine the safety in phase 0. Are we able to understand? Sir, what is the use of them? Use is to know pharmacokinetics. Pharmacokinetics. This is important. To know the pharmacokinetics, you can use the study. And it has also helped in doing the costly phase 1 studies. Okay. If there is a person, there is a volunteer who is having an impaired or some not suitable pharmacokinetics, you can use this. Okay, is it clear? So phase 1, healthy volunteers. Phase 2, patients but a homogeneous population. Phase 3, patients but with a heterogeneous population. Phase 4, you are post-marketing surveillance to know the that I'll be telling in the, again I have to revise this. Phase 0, microdosing studies, again healthy volunteer. So phase 1, I am studying the human safety pharmacology. I With that I came to know the MTD, that is maximal tolerable dose. In phase 2, it is also known as therapeutic exploratory. What I am doing is I am trying to find that therapeutic efficacy is there. Once I do that therapeutic efficacy, that dose ranging studies, I go to the phase 3, which is a confirmatory phase, that is therapeutic confirmatory, where I am confirming the therapeutic efficacy, and also I am telling the how efficacious it can be, how much more efficacious it can be. That is actually the confirmation. Phase 4, post-marketing surveillance. We treat the patients, we as an average physician treat the patients, and we want to know the long-term adverse effects, and we also take some special groups, that is children, pregnancy, and some other special groups. Okay, so phase 0 is microdosing studies. We take 1/100 of the human dose. Maximum can go to 100 microgram, is given to the healthy volunteers, will reach a subtherapeutic level. Therefore, we can't determine the safety and efficacy of that drug in the phase 0 studies. But yeah, we can radio label it. We can radio tag it. How to know the pharmacokinetics? We will tag this drug and see wherever this drug is going. Radio labeling. I hope you remember radio labeling. Every medical science, I think 50% is about radiology. No, everything is about radiology. So radio labeling is done. A tag is attached, radio labeling tag, and we will see where the drug is going. So in that way, we are telling that we are able to understand the pharmacokinetics. I hope you have understood the clinical trials. This is what is the outline of clinical trials, guys. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? Is there any doubt? Now, since the laws of the countries are different, so in that way, you have to remember your country's laws on the drugs. Okay, they have made. Okay, so refer to your, that's also from your PSM, that you have to refer to your country's own framework, laws of that country who are. So there are some things written on your medicines. I want to end this topic with this so that I can give you an idea. There are some things written on your, this. So, in your countries, you have a specific law to, understand, to label the drug. There are laws for this, how you have to label the drug, how you have to write the name of the drug. That should be complying with that regulation. Okay. So there are 3 words I first want to make you understand. If you want, I can take those 4 and 5 definitions I want to tell you. Okay, thank you. So see, this is important, that's why. One word you come across on the tablet, that is expiry date. Expiry date means the date up to which the chemicals in this drug can remain with that level, isn't it? I hope you understand, with that level, if you store this drug correctly. So expiry date means the date. First you should know it is a date. Okay, don't go into other dates. Okay, not other dates, it's date. Okay, so date to which this drug can remain nicely with that specification or with that quality or with that chemistry, if you store it with correct. Listen the last word, if you store it correctly. Now, there is one concept which you always forget. Just let me put the image may get blink. The image may get blink. So see, anything can happen, guys. So you have to have your clinical knowledge very much that. Okay. See, if I talk about this expiry date, you may have seen your homes and your hospitals while we are treating the patients. We have no work with this drugs. We only write drugs. This is all the work of pharmacists. So you have seen there is a generic name. There is a generic name. There is a brand name, that is Glimda. See here right now in this photo, Glimda is a brand name. Glimda 2 is a brand name. But what is the generic name? The generic name is like you have generic name like aspirin. You call it Disprin. Chemically it is ASA, acetyl salicylic acid. Same. Glimepiride is a generic name. So, isn't it? This is a generic name. This Glimda is a brand name. That will depend in your country what they follow, whether they follow generic name or whether they follow brand name. Okay. Now this is the company which is making it. Okay, and these are the constituents which is present in this. So this is he has written here Schedule H drugs. Schedule H means these are those drugs which are, yes, who can tell me? Schedule H are those which can only you have to get this by prescription. Schedule H drugs are only those drugs which only we will be getting on the prescription only. You show the prescription, you will get the drug. A doctor should have written that in a prescription. A doctor, a registered RMP. RMP is registered medical practitioner. Then only he will get this drug. So if it is written it's a Schedule H, that means you can't buy it like this. Okay, from the counter. There are also some drugs, Schedule G drugs, which require a special medical supervision. So don't go into that. Here I want to say that Glimepiride, like it is Glimepiride, it's a drug for anti-diabetes. So diabetes, giving this drug, Glimepiride, glipizide, glipenglamide. So we are giving those drugs. So this drug, this is the generic name. This is done. Here I am concerned about this. If you can see, this is the, I don't have to do anything with batch number. I am concerned about this expiry date. In this tablet, it is written Jan 22. It means January 2022, isn't it? The year. So tell me, you have to remember, you can use this drug up to what January? You can use this drug end of the January. That means on the 31st, the last day of the month, you can use it till that. You can use it till that. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? So if it is, for example, written, if it is written April 20, it means it was a 2020 year and you can use it till what? April last, I don't know, it is 31st or 30. Okay. I know it is 31st or 30. I used to count on my knuckles. Okay. Jan, Feb, March, April. So it comes 30. Okay. So you have to understand that. Okay. I hope you understood this concept. This is important. I think everyday life, at least you in your family or some way you are confused that should I take this or not. So you can take it till the end of that. Okay. You can take it. What else I can tell you? Yeah, shelf life is there. What is shelf life? This was expiry date. Shelf life means the time between the expiry date and the manufacturing date. So that means I have to use two dates for shelf life. Means for this time, the pharmacist can keep it on its shelf. The pharmacist can keep it on its shelf. Are we able to understand? Is it clear? From manufacturing date till the expiry date, the pharmacist can keep it in the shelf, means in the shop, okay, in that place. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Okay. Second thing I want to tell you, the last, which you do every time, the people who are not from medicine, OTC, that is over the counter drugs. This is what is harmful. Actually, people start going to counter directly without the intervention of doctor. a registered specialist who can prescribe them. So what you do is, even if you take, I want to make the people clear, if you take 8 to 9 tablets of, paracetamol, if you get a, toxicity, then it will directly kill you, liver failure. Okay. So you should be very much, very much conscious, very much before taking any drug. You should consult a registered medical practitioner because you don't know anything about the body. It's only the doctor who knows because he has read every system with every relation with everything, and that and the doctor who is specialist. This applies specially, then there is no doubt in should go. If you have any problem, go to your doctor, listen to his advice, whatever he prescribes from his prudent clinical knowledge, you should follow him. He is thinking your best, and it may take time to heal. It may take time to get fine, because it's not that on the day one you will be getting treated with a drug or day two. Every drug, every procedure, every treatment has its protocol. You have to comply with that protocol till you get fine, till your that disease progression changes. Okay, so you should definitely follow the advice of the doctor. If he has told you to take medicine for 30 days, you should follow that doctor. Don't change the doctor. If he is, he has told you that you have to take this for 30 days or 20 days or some period, follow that doctor. He is using his clinical knowledge for your best only. So over the counter means the drugs which can be sold by these pharmacists, these dealers, which are licensed also, they should be licensed under law. You don't need any doctor supervision. They will give you from the counter. That's why they are saying over the counter, OTC drug. So you don't need any prescription. You don't need to show any prescription. You directly go and take it. That's called OTC, over the counter drug. Is it clear, friends? So next thing I want to tell you is there is a small logo everywhere you have seen. This is RX. Okay. We mostly use while we are prescribing something. So RX means there are two words. One is RX, that is you are generally giving this is a Schedule H drug, I can say. It is a Schedule H drug, that is it can be only given on the prescription of the doctor. Is it okay? Are we clear? RX means you show me the prescription. RX means you show me the prescription. Okay. There is another NRX. Remember this, please. Have a star here. NRX is written. NRX means narcotic. It is a narcotic. Oh my God. It is a narcotic drug. Have we understand narcotics? Is it clear, guys? Narcotics. Okay. I will be learning a lot about narcotics in pharmacology. Okay. So wait for that. So narcotic drugs is NRX. Okay. There is another XRX. XRX is there. XRX means X means no, that is not for general sale. Not for general sale. Not for general sale. Okay. They are not used generally. Okay. Some antiviral like oseltamivir. Okay. These we are using. So can we see these? See, what is this? Is it RX or NRX? Is it RX or NRX, guys? Is it RX or NRX? It's RX. So you will be giving it on a prescription. Now see another one. Can we see RX omeprazole? Yes, sir. Can we see NRX? See clobazam. Once you go to the hospital or somewhere, you say, give me clobazam. He will say, clobazam. Show me the prescription, because it's narcotic. You can be fined if you are taking it even without you are taking it without a prescription of the doctor. It's a narcotic, seriously seen. Seriously, it is important. And I'm happy that it's important that the laws have been made for this. Otherwise, people will start abusing this. It will destroy your mental health and your life even. Okay, so don't take at least these drugs with your own advice if you are not a doctor. Yeah, it will now, so my dear, it will now depend what is in the schedule and what is not in the schedule. Okay, I can't bring all the pharmacopoeia here and show you the list of all those drugs. Okay, British Pharmacopoeia, United States Pharmacopoeia, British National Formulary, BNF. Then I have to bring everything and tell you. So I am just giving you an example to identify what it is. Okay, so you have to at least understand that, yeah, it's a narcotic drug. And once you're traveling from one country to another country, they may halt you because you are having a narcotic drug with you. So that's why at least you can help yourself, not carry those drugs with you. Once you are going for studies or abroad, unless you don't have a prescription from a doctor, RMP, you can't carry them. Yeah, I have seen sometimes in my life in the airports that some people were not allowed to take the drugs. They were thrown in a dustbin. So that's why we are helping you here. Okay, at least you can take an RX drug, but not an RX. Okay, if you have a prescription from a doctor, then it's okay. You can show the reason and you are legal. You have to say that you are legal. Yeah, when you are ill, that it's legal, isn't it? You are ill, that it's natural, you need it. But you should carry the prescription with you so that you can show the authorities that I am under this doctor, under this treatment. You can explain. That's it. We don't want any fix, any problems. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed. We have finally finished. I hope this was all from my point of view that you require in your first year, in your second year pharmacology, in general pharmacology, the first chapter. So we will be continuing the next topic soon. So maybe tomorrow we take the next chapter. So please keep revising. Please read the notes. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed this lecture. We are here for you every time, whenever you need our help in studies, any concept, any topics you are not able to understand from all the 19 subjects of medicine, you can message me and I can make a video on that. Okay. Thank you very much. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.